It's that time again. The NFL playoffs are back. I'm hyped up about it, and I know you are too. So, in this video, we are going to preview and predict wildcard weekend for the NFC. And naturally, we'll do the AFC next. Welcome back, or welcome to America's Sports. Lucky for us, the first 6 months of the year are the best 6 months for sports. In January, you got the NFL plus college football playoffs. In March, you got college basketball's March Madness. And then in April starts the NBA playoffs all the way till June. And so, even though my team didn't make it, the football gods have been very good to us this year. This is anyone's game, besides maybe a team or two. For example, both 6 seeds, the Niners and the Bills, it wouldn't be crazy at all to see them in the Super Bowl. I am your host, Ty. Let's get into the football. We start off NFL's wildcard weekend with the number 5 seed LA Rams traveling to the number 4 seeded Carolina Panthers. That's got to be the most distance this weekend. LA had a great regular season and didn't get any favors there. And yet, still, the Rams are favored by 10.5 points with the over-under at 46.5. Now, the weather, temperature-wise, should be awesome for this game, reaching a high of about 70 degrees, but in the afternoon, which is around the time of the game, could be some thunderstorms. So it could be the prettiest game of the weekend, or we could be on rain delay. That game, just so you guys know, is at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and that game is on Fox. I know it's hard to keep up with all these damn channels and all these damn times and shit these days, so just thought I'd throw that in there. At first glance, before you start crunching the numbers and all that, you're probably automatically thinking, okay, the Rams are a much better offense, but Carolina probably has a much better defense. But that's not really the case, at least not on defense, but the offensive assumptions are correct. When it comes to yards per game, they're just about the same, but the Rams are actually the team that holds teams to less points per game. For those of us who love our history and love our numbers, this game happened in November. LA at Carolina. Carolina won this game 31-28, and I'm sure that the Rams were pretty heavy favorites in that game as well. Statistically, this was probably Bryce Young's best game of the season, maybe of his career. And then on the flip side, in what could be potentially a Stafford MVP season, his probably the worst game of his season with 2 picks and a fumble, costly turnovers. I don't expect Stafford to play that bad again, but I will say Carolina does turn you over, particularly if you like to throw the ball down the field. But I cannot stress to you, for Carolina fans or people who think Carolina is going to win, how important Rico Dowdle is. Rico Dowdle, that is the name of this game.
Rico Dowdle.
Individually, over the last month, Bryce Young has had better numbers on paper, but they've not really been winning. They lost 3 of their last 4 to end the season. They were clearly playing their best ball when Rico Dowdle broke out. The Rams are top 12 in rushing yards allowed per game, though. As for the Rams have not been playing perfect football either. They've been 2-2 in their last 4 games, each against NFC opponents in their last 4 games. And even though they were 2-2, they've put up a lot of points still. I mean, we're talking about the number 1 offense here in the NFL. The Panthers have 2 guys in the top 10 in interceptions. And then Mike Jackson was number 1, tied for number 1 with passes defended. And let me tell you, 19 PDs in the season is getting it done, son. I suspect that the majority of predictors, bettors, are going to take that 10.5 with the Rams. That was my first gut reaction when I saw the spread at 10.5 is, man, the Rams are a damn good team. And Carolina did sort of get lucky, as they didn't really control their own destiny last week. But 10.5 feels like a lot, especially in Carolina. Though officially, I like the Rams to win it this time, but I think it's going to come down to the wire. I think it's going to be really close, and I wouldn't be shocked if Carolina won this game. However, my opinion is if Carolina does pull this out, that is where the road stops with them. They are going to be hungry to prove to everybody else that they do deserve to be there. They are a playoff team. But with that said, let's get to the next one. Next up at 8 p.m. EST on January 10th, we've got the division rivals Green Bay Packers traveling to the Chicago Bears. This one's on Prime Video and is the road team, again, the Packers, that are favored by 1.5 with the over-under sitting at 45.5. In my opinion, this is definitely the hardest one to predict of the entire weekend, and there are several reasons why. Number one being that this is a division game, a division rivalry, where both of these teams have split the season series with each other 1-1 for each of the last 2 seasons. So that right there tells you that it's probably going to be a close game. But number two is it's going to be really cold, and you're going to get a mix of rain and snow. And then on top of that, you're going to get wind gusts of up to 30 plus miles per hour. I don't need to be a meteorologist to let you know that that's gonna suck. Now that I've said that, like your local weatherman, I'm sure I'm gonna get that wrong and there will be not a cloud in the sky. I am gonna go under in this one. I went over in the first game, and this screams under to me. It's gonna be a primetime, nighttime game. Yeah, we'll start with the under and then go from there. Jacobs has now played 7 full seasons. In 3 of those seasons, he did not reach 1,000 rushing yards, but in all 3 of those seasons as well, it was because of missed games. So he's essentially a 1,000-yard rusher every single year, but also technically not. And even though he only played in 15 games this year, this was the second most rushing touchdowns that he's had. And then for Chicago, DeAndre Swift, this is the most rushing touchdowns he's ever had in a season with 9. He's also rushing at a very good 4.9 yards a carry. And I'm letting you know these things because the rush is going to be even more important now, because the pass game might not be there like the quarterbacks want it to be. Chicago has weathered many storms already this season, though, and we already talked about the best offense in the league, and a team like San Francisco is known for their offense, but statistically, Chicago has a slightly better offensive rank than San Francisco in just about everything. Both these teams do not turn the ball over as well, so it's going to be very interesting. If there's going to be any turnovers in this game, the team that gets the turnovers, it's going to be heavily favored in as well, I believe. And that is most likely to be Chicago, as they have a crazy plus 22 turnover differential. They turn you over the most, and they turn the ball over the least in the league. It's not been a great last month and change for the Green Bay Packers. In fact, ever since Micah Parsons went down, they've not won without him. They went from 9-3-1 with him to now 9-7-1 without him to end the year. And they're still favored. That's got to make Chicago feel like a certain type of way too. However, so far, as of the making of this video, 69% of bettors are going with Chicago, the home team. Here are some plays that I like in this game. I like Josh Jacobs at 60-plus rushing yards. I like DeAndre Swift at 40-plus rushing yards, and DeAndre Swift 5-plus rushing yards in the first quarter. I know that Swift over the last month has been less involved in the offense, even less involved in the passing game than he was at the start of the year because of the growth of Monungai, but I feel like they've kind of been preserving him a little bit, even though Monungai is going to get his carries too. And they're going to run a lot in this game. And then I like a Josh Jacobs anytime touchdown as well. With all of that said, I do have the home team winning. I've got the Packers. I've got the Bears winning this one. I've got the under, like I said earlier. And yeah, I'm going to take them to cover. I'm going to take them to win by 3 to 4 points. Remember, guys, this is just what I think is going to happen in the game. This is not betting advice. These prediction videos is brought to you by America's Sports Tactical Soda. Available in 3 flavors that are non-existent. We are so lucky, so blessed to have this many good games this week, right, guys? All right, so the San Francisco 49ers travel to Philadelphia, where the 49ers are the 6th seed, the Eagles are the 3. Philadelphia is the home favorites, minus 4.5, with the over-under at 44.5. The weather shouldn't be as bad as it is supposed to be in Chicago, but it's going to be windy and rainy, possibly even a thunderstorm in Philly as well. This game is on Sunday, 4:30 p.m. EST, and this is on Fox. Both of these teams have their fair share of injuries to keep track of, too. Philly has a lot on offense, and so does San Francisco. San Francisco has been injured like crazy all year long, and they've still found ways to win. That is the markings of a really good team. Here's something that troubles me about the Niners, though. The Niners don't sack anybody. In 17 games, they've got 20 sacks. Philly has more than double the amount of sacks that San Francisco has, and Philly's just middle of the pack at getting to the quarterback for sacks. Just for some fun perspective here, you know Myles Garrett, right? He had more sacks than the Niners' entire roster. Philly's defense overall is just head and shoulders better than San Francisco's. San Francisco's near the bottom on takeaways, too. This is not a good recipe. The Niners also have a -6 turnover differential. It's amazing they've won as many games as they have. San Francisco relies solely on if they can score a shit ton of points or not. Hats off to the coaching staff. Hats off to this offense for keeping it together. 7-2 on the road, 4-2 in the division. Yeah, it's a good football team regardless of the defensive woes. And that obviously is where the advantage is for San Francisco, as they are a better overall offense than Philly. Philly gets more run yards per game than San Francisco, but San Francisco does everything else better on offense. The rain and the storm really helps out Philly in this one. They're already at home, and San Francisco really needs to get their passing game going because their defense is likely not going to be there when they need it to the most. They just don't have what they've been accustomed to having over these last 5, 6, 7 years, seemingly every single year over the last decade. Some props I like in this one are George Kittle to get 4+ catches. I like Jalen Hurts with an anytime touchdown for sure. I like McCaffrey for 40+ rushing yards, and I also like Dallas Goedert for 3+ catches. So after all that, I am going to go with the home team in this one as well. I am going to have the Eagles win. I am not going to have them cover this. 4.5 seems like a little bit too much to me. They could win by 3 or 4, and in fact, I think they will. You know, unless it goes to overtime, Philly scores that touchdown in overtime and ends up winning by 6. But you just can't count out Shanahan and those damn San Francisco 49ers, man. I think a lot of these games this weekend are going to be close, and this is going to be a wild card weekend to remember. I really do. A lot of folks are saying that the winner of this game has as good a chance as any to go to the Super Bowl because of the experience that these two teams have accumulated over the last few years when it comes to the playoffs. We're going to be talking about the AFC in the next one that is coming out, well, real soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that one as well. Until next time, guys, you'll see me in the next one. I appreciate you for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you like American sports like the NFL and the NBA, with some college sports sprinkled in there, join us in the Armchair Army and subscribe to America Sports today.